Hello, welcome back to Uncle Sal's Garage. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at all things transaxle. I've got oil leaks, I've got sloppy shifting, I've got it all. So we're going to take a look at the bearings and bushings from the shifter on back. We're going to take a look at the speedometer drive gear seals, the shifter fork seals, and if we're lucky, we'll get into the shifter itself. Let's get started. All right, let's take a look at what we've got here. As you can see from the kit, I've got the RennShift new shifter I'm going to be installing on Bert. Amazing, I cannot wait. But the shifter housing and the shift lever themselves don't necessarily make for smoother shifting vehicles. You do have to address the bushings underneath, and so that whole area is leaking oil in addition to the speedometer drive gear area. So what I've planned here is a pretty thorough refresh of the transaxle, taking care of some leaks. So I've got the drive gear area, and I've got where, it's a side shift, so where the shifting mechanism kind of goes through the case. There's all these different bushings and seals and O-rings and whatnot. I'm gonna try and plug that up as best as possible. So that's on the mechanical side. Then I've got some other bushings, this bushing kit that J West sells you. So the firewall bushing, the bushings underneath in the tunnel, etc. So I'm going to install that while I'm at it. And then when we get back into the cabin, it's just it's a simple plug and play for the RennShift, replacing the stock shifter unit, and we'll hopefully have a much cleaner shifting vehicle with no transaxle oil leaks. Can't wait to get started. Part 1. Fixing the Speedo drive gear. Alright, I'm going to start with the Speedo drive gear. This thing is leaking pretty bad. Everything on here is slick with oil. And yeah, I saw it kind of leaking from the junction where it sort of meets the transaxle. So first step is taking off the Speedo cable. Second step is braking torque on this guy. And then once you remove that bolt right there, it should slide right out. So that's what I did. I loosened the bolt and the old Speedo drive gear came right out. I took the assembly over to the bench and replaced an inner bushing. I did not film it. It just popped right out. I popped a new one in. And then you put the drive gear itself back into the housing and you're ready to go. But there was a problem. Well, nothing's ever easy. Trying to put the screw back in, to mate up with the drive gear, sort of fits just like this. And out comes what I assume is a helicoil, however you pronounce that, plug. I guess the previous owner or whoever had an issue back there and tapped it. And you could kind of see that it is, in fact, threaded even after that helicoil kind of came out. It's a little bit tough to see, but there's definitely threads in there. But yeah, just can't just do a simple Speedo drive gear. Gotta love Amazon. I got a thread repair kit delivered in like a day. So if you recall, this is the screw with the tip, the dowel tip that secures the drive gear, the speedometer drive gear in place. And I had ripped a previously repaired thread out. So right now I'm just going to make sure that my M8 thread repair helicoils kind of work. And then I'm going to go over to the back of the trans and make sure that it's drilled and tapped, ready to go. There it is in. I have to get the tang off, but I think it's seated well. It's beneath the surface there, all the threads. So I'm going to get that tang off, and we're going to get this Speedo drive gear in. A little gentle persuasion with a rubber mallet to get that second O-ring past the lip. But I think we're good. The only thing I don't love about this is that it doesn't really wiggle. It's fine. The helicoil that I put in, I think this has been repaired several times because this isn't super tight, and I was trying to really not over tighten it and to back out the helicoil. So that's a potential failure point I got to keep an eye on. And when the gasket inside here went in, it kind of went in really. It was difficult to put in. So again, I'll keep my eye on this. It could be leaking again from the gasket on the inside, or potentially, from this guy. So yeah, let's just keep an eye on it, and hopefully everything's okay. Part 2, replacing the shifter fork seals. Well, I'm in it now. This is the sort of shift selector mechanism out from the trans. I mean, this thing was just leaking. It pools and pools of gear oil under the car after I'd go driving. So obviously something's wrong here. Just visually inspecting this O-ring here, this rubber O-ring, doesn't look. I mean, I can't tell if it's compromised or not, but it's it's in there. And then what I didn't notice is I did not notice a gasket. I have a gasket here, and I also have another O-ring. Yeah. So that's an interesting observation. But yeah, I gotta completely disassemble this. I gotta get the roll pin out and all that stuff. So it was a struggle to get that seal out. Here's the new one, and I'm about to put that in. I'm about to put the O-ring on here, and I'm about to put the gasket on. I think that should do it for the treating the oil leak coming out of this area. So fingers crossed. All right, I've got the new seal installed, nice and flush. Here is the shifter fork that goes through. Don't forget to put on your plastic washer. Yeah, I mean, I think this is done. This is gonna go back in the car. All right, well, if you've ever wondered what a side shift 901 transaxle looks like with the shift coupler off, this is it. Just a huge gaping hole on this side, a flange for a boss there for a gasket, and then right up in there, see that brass element? That's the actual shift selector. So the forks engage that thing, and that's what shifts your gears. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that shift selector on. This guy right here. We put the new rubber gasket in, we put the new seal in the shaft there, and I put the roll pin back on in our little shift selector module. I replaced the bushing in there, and I'm using an uprated coupler from J West. So there's your forks on the shifter side. This whole piece mates up to the side shift trans right there and goes right in. You have to twist it to get it in, so it's a little on the tricky side. Getting it out, I didn't really pay too close attention to the direction I twisted it, but it was, I'll figure it out. But yeah, I gotta twist it and get it in, make sure those forks engage that brass piece, and we should be on our way. It'd be nearly impossible to do one-handed, but I just verified that I can row my own gears here. So I'm in neutral, up and down, slides in that one, oof, all the way down, and up, okay, and down, yeah, okay, so it works. While I was under there, I pulled the old shift rod bushing. This is the bushing that the shift rod sits in at the firewall. I probably could have gotten away with keeping it. It really didn't look that bad. I mean, it looks bad now because I mangled it trying to get it out. But while I was at it, I just figured I'd put a whole new set of bushings on. And talking about struggle, getting that new firewall bushing in was not easy. I had to kind of get one side in, to clear the lip, and then with a screwdriver I just pushed the bottom lip through, and I don't know if I damaged it or whatever, but I don't see how that gets in otherwise. All right, so at this point, I buttoned everything up and went for a short test drive. The point here was to make sure that I could shift into and out of every gear, and that when I got home, the transaxle was no longer leaking transmission oil. All right, I just got the car back on the ground and took it for a short drive, long enough that I got heat in the motor. So I've got my trusty cardboard, looking for drips underneath the shifter coupling, that guy right there, or the Speedo drive gear, that guy right there, and I'm not seeing any, oil. I don't remember how quickly the oil would leak before I changed those gaskets, so I'm just gonna leave the paper here overnight, but so far, so good. I came back the next day and there were no leaks, so I'm going to call this one done for now. Part 3, Getting Shifty. All right, on to the RennShift. The first, it's super simple install. Select third gear, and then just swap it out. It's not that complicated, so I think I'm just going to do that now. A simple bench assembly here of the shifter housing, grafted the clevis joint, threw some grease in there, grease in the shaft. I'm about to put this back in the car. Super easy. All right, here's the RennShift installed. It really wasn't that hard. You leave it in third gear, so this guy comes forward a little bit so you could access the nut there. First gives a nice satisfying little click, up in second, third, fourth, and then fifth. So yeah, once you row it a couple times, you kind of get the hang of it. It's notchy, which is good. There's positive feedback to when you're engaged. Of course, I didn't watch all the instructional videos that were available to me on YouTube and just took it out for a test drive. All right, it is kind of hard to see. My second gear just slipped out when I went over that bump. I don't know what to do. But I did know what to do. Watch the dang videos that Jay West puts for people to learn from and adjust the linkage properly. All right, I think I have to be a little bit more careful here about the linkage and where it is. I watched the video on Jay West's website where the guy put tape and he did the markings. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that here, and I definitely can't do that up here. I don't have the space to get in there with a pen and stuff. So I'm going to eyeball it, try and take a look at. So the linkage is connected but loose. That nut is loose. So I should be able to turn the linkage and to find the play. So let's see. So yeah, all of this rotational play is just part of the transaxle. So I'm going to want to find the midpoint of the rotational play and also the midpoint of the fore aft play. It's super hard to do holding the camera here, so I'm going to do this offline and then sort of report back. All right, I put a mark lined up with the bolt for the seatbelt holder. So that's as far forward as it's going to go. Let's find how far back it's going to go. All right, this is roughly how far back it's going to go. And you can see here as I play with it. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, that's forward. Any more would put it in gear. And this is back. Any more would put it in gear. So what I want to, and now what I want to do is find the midpoint in the rotation. Alright, that's as rotated over as you're going to get to that side. All right, so I think I've reasonably found the midpoint of both fore and aft and rotation. So what I want to do is I want to clamp this down and make sure the stick is totally vertical, and which it actually kind of is right now. It's a little leaning forward. So then I'm gonna lock this down and then basically move the stick to its perfect position, and then I'm gonna tighten it down. So hopefully this helps. You gotta love having Henry Hudson Drive as your own private test track. So I'm here in neutral, verifying the new shifter linkage adjustments that I made. Let's go into first. Satisfying little snick. Comes out of first just fine. We go around this bend in first, and then we'll get into second, see if it holds, and then we'll go from there. All right, going into second. Nice and clean, satisfying positive feedback. And yeah, holding in second, feeling good. Floor it a little bit. Love that. Let's go to third. Absolute perfection there. Feels fantastic. Here's the George Washington Bridge. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it up into fourth. I mean, I could shift it into fourth. It'll be a little low in the rev range, but let's get there anyway. All right, there's four. Super low though. Let's go back to third. Cool. That works. Let's go back to second. Slow down a little bit. Nice downshift. Yeah, feeling great. I think this latest round of adjustments really worked well. So there you have it, a fully assembled interior with the carpeting back in and the rubber shift boot on. I took it for another test drive, feeling how the transitions were from gear to gear, feeling how the shift lever kind of notched into place, and it feels fantastic. So can't recommend this enough, and overall a really great experience. Up next on Uncle Sal's Garage, I don't know. I've taken care of all of the major items I've wanted to do, and I think I'm just going to enjoy it this summer. So look forward to some great driving videos.